Now, of the 93.4 million registered voters, 37 million, making 39%, are youth between the ages of 18 and 34. Now, 34.4 million, that's some 35%, are middle-aged voters between 35 and 49. Now, put that together. Registered voters between 18 and 49 for this election account for 75% of the total number of voters. That's 70 million registered voters. Now, with this data, it's clear the number of young people who registered for the 2023 election is on the large scale. But the big question is, will young Nigerians constructively deploy this demographic power to influence the outcome of this election? Or it will go the way of previous elections where voter apathy is the order of the day. Publicity Secretary, the Voice of Technocrats Initiative, Banji Jowosimi, joins me on the program. Thank you for joining us on the countdown, Mr. Jowosimi. Now, the INEC chairman...
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. The INEC chairman did say that this is an election for young people with 37 million registered voters between the age of 18 and 34. Do you think that the youth voting bloc will be deciding this election?
Yeah, the numbers are huge and very significant. It cannot be wished away. So we believe that the numbers will be contributing to a very large extent to the direction of this election. However, beyond the numbers, as an individual and even as a group, the Voice of Technocrats Initiative, we have been speaking to our members. We have been going to the trenches, to the creeks, to ensure that you are not just going out to vote, but you are well informed. You are armed with sufficient information, relevant information to guide you in voting wisely. You know, it is not sufficient that you want to get to a destination as quick as possible. Regardless of your intention, you want to get there on time. If you do not have sufficient information as to the direction to that destination, the possibility and the likelihood of arriving at the wrong destination is very high. So we ensure that we speak to our people, we educate them as to what is exactly at stake. Today, we have before us candidates that we want our youths to go out in their numbers to vote for. And we are talking to them that they have to consider the mood of the nation, first of all. You know, we must agree that this is a multi-tribal, multi-ethnic society. And no matter how well you want to claim to be liberal, there is an understanding that there must be justice, fairness, and equity to the extent that a region must not be seen to be dominating the rest of the country. So that is as clear as possible to our members. Two, we have been speaking to them that, look, this advantage of numbers must be used adequately well. So much that you have to understand that all the leading candidates in this race have all occupied offices. And we expect them that we have to consider their track record. Look, if a child fails primary 2, it will be unjust and unfair on that child to promote him to primary 3, because you will be putting on him a burden he is not adequately prepared for. He has shown that he cannot undo higher responsibility. So with the little you have been given, according to the story of the talents in the Bible, how well have you utilized them? We've told our members to consider that. And we are now telling them, because of the new situation in the country and what we are now facing that appears to be unique. I watched the opening remarks. And even when we changed our currency from pounds to Naira, we didn't have a cash crunch. When we changed currency from paper to polymer, there was no cash crunch. When we changed from notes to coins and vice versa, there was no cash crunch. Between 1999 and 2007, there were additional 4 higher denominations. There were no cash crunch. So we told the people to understand and look at the candidates. Which among them is sympathizing with the people? Which among them is putting himself in the shoes of the people and speaking loud? Then you understand who is on your side. As to the 2 women that faced King Solomon, and one was ready to have the child divided because he's going to serve a purpose. And the true mother of the child, look, even if I don't have the child, just keep him alive. So we are telling them to go to the polls on that day, armed with information,
and I like
know where.
I like the storytelling technique you're also deploying in in the way you're educating the young people. But I'd like us to just take a deeper look at the figures to identify the significance of youth participation in this election. We added 15 million new voters to the voter register in 2019, as against 9.5 million this year. Interestingly, there were more than 40 million young voters in the last election. In fact, more than this year's. How optimistic are you about voter turnout among young people this time?
I am very optimistic, especially if sanity can be restored to the country before the election. I'm very optimistic. I think why our generation, my generation, have not been coming out to vote in their numbers and utilizing that high number is because many times they do not see the reason. They do not trust the system. You will recall that our elections, 1999 to 2007 especially, were at best a selection. So much that the winner of the 2007 election came out to say, look, we've been rigged quite all right, but this is on a different magnitude. The election that brought me in was flawed. So when you know that your decision, your vote will not count, why stay in the sun? Why risk your life? Why waste time for something that will be decided in the bedroom? But now, with the introduction of technology, I must pay very huge kudos to the president for signing the new Electoral Act, the beavers, the electronic transmission. It has instilled confidence in my generation. They are going to come out in the numbers. Also, when you consider that, unlike previous elections, today, this year, we are having 3-4 leading candidates, which opens the space to higher participation. But all the candidates will have their supporters, will have their loyalists, will have people that want them to win. So for that reason alone, they will want to come out in larger numbers than we have seen. We have seen our elections in recent years, 35, 39%. You know, I am optimistic that this time we may have 50% turnout. Very optimistic.
Everyone is counting on that. And we're also hoping that in the next 7 days, just like the president said, all this issue, the issues with fuel and Naira scarcity will also be resolved. A big thank you, Banji Jowosimi, Publicity Secretary, Voice of Technocrats, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me, brother. Have a good day.
And that's our show.